Greetings, salutations, happy Tuesday, June the 30th, 2026. Welcome to Backstage, where we look at what it takes to get onto a bigger stage, whatever that looks like. And there's a lot to it, right? And so where are we at today? It's going to be another hot day today in this summer and progressing towards like 100 degrees here shortly. I know Europe is baking, so I hope you're cool wherever you are and however you need to stay cool. So it's no joke when it gets up to a certain point. So I will be braving the transportation system later today to get into lower Manhattan or Flatiron in Manhattan. With FIFA going on today in MetLife, it's going to be nuts. So I got to figure that out. I may have to leave like 3 hours early to get there. We'll have to see. It would normally take, I don't know, 20 minutes maybe. So we'll have to see how that goes. Listen, today I want to talk about an important topic for all of us trying to build something and convey an important message to a certain audience, right? To get them to think and take action. That's what being on a stage is about, right? Giving information that helps people improve their lives and their businesses, their relationships, all the things that go into it. So what's been on my mind lately is the distraction economy. And I was thinking about how hard it is to formulate and cultivate story, like new, how are we going to tell the story? Like, doing presentations and things like that. They're full of stories. The best ones are really deeply baked. They hit you on multiple levels. It's like a meal that has a lot of care in it. You're like, well, I don't know what it is about this chicken, but there's some deep, rich flavor in it, right? Or like if you like ramen's, hot all over now. So I lived in Japan a long time. A cheap ramen from like a really great ramen. And a really great ramen has broth that's been stewed for a long time. There's a gigantic pork bone in there. This guy who's been doing it for a woman who's been doing it forever. They're stirring with a big, paddle. Hours and hours and hours and hours and hours, getting that flavor deep rooted. That's where the best stories come from. And we're in an economy and a life now that is fighting us on this. I'll give you an example. So just statistically, if you're thinking, I can't seem to finish a thought. I can't seem to really go deep on anything. This is from Microsoft's Work Trend Index, Infinite Workday, 2025. So this is last year. I suspect it's probably the same or worse now. I'm just going to read. I actually used ChatGPT to do the research, and then I went to Microsoft's site and cross-verified this. So I think it's pretty accurate. I'll just read the response. Microsoft's telemetry from Microsoft 365 users. So these are people who use Microsoft 365 so they can track, what they're doing. Found that employees are interrupted on average every 2 minutes by a meeting, email, or notification. That implies roughly 240 interruptions in an 8-hour workday, before counting self-initiated checking. Microsoft also found that by 11 a.m., message activity peaks, with 54% of users active, and that the average employee sends or receives 50-plus messages outside core business hours. So just a workday, 240 interruptions. Now, I think the number is probably much, much higher for a lot of people. Because if you have a phone that has WhatsApp on it, you've got iMessage, you've got regular SMS, you've got Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, and you're not suppressing your notifications, plus email, plus the occasional phone call, plus everything else. We are inundated by constant interruptions. But I want to go one step further than that. That's one reason why this new AI thing, it kind of on the front end of its introduction in the form of ChatGPT and Claude and, all these other tools, it's so relieving because my brain's taxed from dealing with all these interruptions. Now I can go to a tool, I can put in a prompt and get what looks like a complete analysis, a complete written piece, a complete whatever, instantly. Basically, my brain doesn't have to think about it. But here's the danger that I'm seeing, is if you're not alone with your thoughts, pulling out your ideas, playing with them, clay on the wheel, throwing the clay on the wheel, forming it. It's just not, first of all, it's not yours. And you are not stirring the broth of your ramen for hours. Now, I'm not saying you have to spend hours on it, although sometimes you do. But having that broth that you've been simmering and attending to and watching and smelling and tasting and continuing to, that's how you get an exceptional broth. And we are being attacked by our system. We have to fight to make room to stir the broth. So all I'll say for you, and one of the reactions that I get when I post this, occasionally I'll post a poll on LinkedIn or something about your story and how you're developing your story, because your story is what moves people. Story is what changes the game. Stories create and end life. They start and end wars. They give people a reason to want to talk to you or not talk to you. They're the whole deal. We're powered by story constantly. The story we're telling ourselves, the story we're telling each other. So whether you want to call it narrative or story or blah, blah, blah. By the way, AI tools keep telling me, don't talk about storytelling. It's, kind of bastardized and overdone. And I'm probably just going to keep ignoring that, because ultimately I am talking about story. I don't know how to tip tap. I don't know how to tiptoe around that. It's like when I was doing feedback work and I was so desperate to find another word other than feedback. And there isn't one really. There's clever kind of wordplay like feed forward or whatever, but ultimately that's the word we use. So maybe adding story to it is what helps you differentiate, right? I think that is the point. How you present the stories around it, that's what differentiates. The word itself, live with it. So here we are. So what does this mean? Well, when you're using AI, you're not exercising the muscle nearly. Not nearly. It's fast. And look, I use it. I used it to research this, to get me something quickly. But I think the name of the game is cultivating deeper thinking. And in order to do that, we need to have space to do it. We need to create space and quiet space. Space to read, space to write, and without the assistance of tools. Now, again, I'm not trying to be hypocritical here. I use tools all the time, every day. But what I'm finding is that the more that I have an opportunity to find a space for that kind of thinking, which is aided greatly by actually writing, the deeper, the richer the broth is, right? And I think that's going to be so important for us moving forward. I think it's going to be the differentiator for a lot of people who are trying to build something important with deep meaning. Well, if you have deep meaning, and many people have a lot of deep meaning under what they do, then the deep writing, the deep thought, the deep connection also needs to be there. Otherwise, it won't properly convey how deep your message really is. So have a thought on that. How can you carve out some time and really protect it to give yourself a chance to truly show the depth of your thinking? You're worth it, and your audience deserves it. Whoever you're trying to reach, they deserve it, and they're going to love you for it. I guarantee it. All right, that's the thought I'm going to leave you for today. I hope it's inspiring, and we are going to get to it and see if we can't make a difference in someone's life today. All right, so thanks as always for listening. Be good to yourself and others, and we will check back again with you tomorrow. Bye-bye for now.